close your eyes and let yourself drift back through the corridors of time. Tonight, we are embarking on a gentle voyage across centuries, sailing past the ordinary and into the extraordinary. History is not only made of great battles or mighty rulers, but also of small, quiet wonders that almost seem too incredible to believe. One by one, we will uncover 100 of these truths, each as a candle flickering in the vast darkness of time, lighting the way for your imagination as you drift softly towards sleep. In the cradle of Mesopotamia, thousands of years ago, people were already recording how they prepared food. Clay tablets inscribed in cuneiform reveal recipes for stews and bread, delicately blending herbs and meats into nourishing dishes. These were not just meals, but offerings to the gods, written with reverence. Imagine a fire glowing in a clay oven, the rich aroma of spices filling the air, and a community gathered in gratitude. It is soothing to think that even across 4 millennia, the comfort of a warm meal still connects us with those who came before. In ancient Egypt, workers who built the Great Pyramids were not slaves, as so often imagined, but laborers who were compensated with food and beer. Their rations included loaves of bread, onions, and jars of frothy barley brew. Archaeologists uncovered this truth from village remains near the Giza Plateau. Picture the sun rising over golden stone, men sharing a hearty meal before their day's toil. They lifted blocks heavier than any man should, yet their spirits were sustained by simple nourishment, reminding us that monumental achievements rest upon ordinary acts of daily care. Across the sands of the Sahara lies evidence of a time when this desert was not desert at all, but a flourishing landscape of lakes and rivers. Thousands of years ago, giraffes roamed freely, and fish swam in waters that are now long dry. Cave paintings in the region show hunters with bows standing beside wild animals. The Sahara, now so silent and harsh, was once a thriving cradle of life. It is a gentle reminder that the earth itself is ever-changing, shifting beneath the stars, whispering stories of worlds that seem almost like dreams. Far to the east in China, the invention of paper transformed human history. Around 2,000 years ago, a court official named Kai Lun developed a method using mulberry bark, rags, and hemp fibers. What he created was light, strong, and inexpensive, spreading knowledge in ways never before possible. Imagine the first sheets drying in the sun, destined to carry poems, prayers, and dreams across generations. A single piece of paper, humble and fragile, has preserved thoughts for thousands of years, allowing voices from long ago to speak softly to us even now. In the ancient city of Athens, democracy was born, though in a form quite different from today. Citizens would gather, sometimes by the thousands, to vote not with paper, but with pebbles and shards of pottery. These fragments, called ostraka, determined leaders and sometimes decided who would be exiled. Picture the quiet clink of pottery against pottery as names were scratched into the surface. Though limited to a small portion of society, this act of collective decision-making planted the seed of governance by the people, a seed that still shapes the world we live in. In the depths of Roman engineering lies an enduring mystery. Their concrete, stronger than much we use today, has survived nearly 2 millennia. Temples, aqueducts, and harbors remain intact, despite the endless touch of waves and weather. Scientists have discovered that volcanic ash, lime, and seawater created a chemical reaction that strengthened over time rather than weakening. Imagine seawater lapping gently at stone walls built when gladiators still roared in the Colosseum. Rome's builders, without knowing it, left us a material that refuses to fade, a silent monument to the ingenuity of forgotten hands. Among the high peaks of the Andes, the Inca Empire built a road network stretching more than 25,000 miles. Paved paths wound across mountains and valleys, linking cities with remarkable precision. Without wheels, without horses, runners carried messages along these routes, relaying news at speeds that rival our modern postal systems. Picture a lone messenger sprinting along a narrow stone path, mountains rising around him, carrying words from one ruler to another. Each footstep echoed not only communication, but connection, binding together a vast empire through endurance and human strength. In the libraries of Timbuktu, deep in Mali, lie manuscripts that preserve centuries of knowledge, from astronomy to medicine. Written on fragile pages of parchment, bound in leather, they reveal that West Africa was once a thriving center of learning. Scholars gathered beneath the hot desert sun to debate philosophy, chart the stars, and write poetry. Imagine the quiet scratch of a quill on parchment, the flicker of an oil lamp in a clay room. These manuscripts, carefully guarded, remind us that wisdom flourished in many places, often where the wider world least expected it. In Japan, for centuries, a single tree has been worshipped as a living monument. The Jomon Sugi, a cedar on Yakushima Island, is estimated to be more than 7,000 years old. Its trunk, gnarled and immense, has seen countless generations come and go. Beneath its branches, pilgrims stand in reverence, whispering prayers carried away by mountain winds. The tree has weathered storms, droughts, and centuries of silence, yet still it stands. It is humbling to imagine a living being whose age stretches so far beyond our own, a guardian of memory rooted in earth and time. And far away in the frozen north, the Vikings carried ravens aboard their longships. Released into the sky, the birds could guide sailors towards land, for they would not fly far before turning back. In this way, black wings against the grey horizon became beacons of hope for weary seafarers. Picture the creak of oars, the salt spray upon the deck, and a raven wheeling in the air above. It is a gentle detail from an age often remembered for battle, showing instead the quiet intelligence of sailors listening to the wisdom of nature. In the shadow of ancient temples, Egyptian priests once kept trained baboons to assist with rituals. These creatures were taught to fetch objects, clap to rhythms, and even guard sacred spaces. Their presence in carvings and papyrus writings suggests they were not just animals, but companions in spiritual practice. Imagine the early morning light streaming through stone columns, a priest chanting softly, while a baboon sits watchful at his side. History often surprises us with these gentle glimpses of connection between people and animals, where reverence for the sacred included the companionship of living beings. Long before glass lenses or telescopes, the ancient Greeks discovered that polished crystal could bend and magnify light. A clear piece of quartz, shaped and smoothed, could make letters appear larger when placed above them. Some scholars believe this was the earliest form of a magnifying glass, used to read fine inscriptions or start fires. Picture sunlight passing through clear stone, illuminating a scroll of faded ink. Though humble in appearance, this discovery marked a small but extraordinary step toward the sciences of optics, carried not in laboratories, but in the hands of curious thinkers. In the Mayan city of Chichen Itza, an extraordinary pyramid was built with precise astronomical design. On the equinox, shadows cast by its steps create the illusion of a serpent slithering down its side, uniting earth with sky. This phenomenon, still visible today, reveals a deep understanding of celestial cycles. Imagine the hush of a gathered crowd, watching the sun lower, the shadow stretching across stone. To those who built it, this was not merely architecture, but a living connection between gods and mortals, a timeless reminder that the heavens and earth dance in harmony. In medieval Europe, people believed the cure for certain ailments could be found in the touch of a king. Known as the royal touch, monarchs were thought to carry divine power to heal diseases like scrofula. Ceremonies were held where sufferers approached rulers, hoping for relief. Imagine a great hall filled with flickering torchlight, a line of weary travelers waiting with hope in their hearts. While science now explains much, in those moments, healing was as much about faith as medicine. It reveals the quiet power of belief, where trust in human touch offered comfort amid hardship. Beneath the waves of the Mediterranean lies a city swallowed by time, Heracleion, once a thriving port of ancient Egypt. For centuries, it was thought to be only legend, until divers discovered its ruins, temples, and colossal statues resting on the seabed. Imagine swimming through green water, past stone carved in honor of forgotten gods, fish drifting lazily through what was once bustling streets. Cities are often thought of as eternal, yet Heracleion whispers that even the mightiest centers of trade and worship can vanish into silence, leaving behind only echoes beneath the sea. High in the Himalayas, Buddhist monks have practiced a ritual for centuries known as tamo. Through deep meditation and breath control, they can raise their body temperature, generating enough heat to sit calmly in freezing snow. Observers describe steam rising as wet sheets wrapped around them dry in icy winds. Imagine the stillness of a mountain night, the stars glimmering overhead, while a lone monk sits serene, warmth radiating from within. It is a quiet marvel of the human mind and spirit, showing how inner peace can shape even the physical body against nature's extremes. In the deserts of Peru, lines stretch across the earth in vast, mysterious shapes. Known as the Nazca lines, these geoglyphs depict hummingbirds, monkeys, and geometric designs so large they can only be fully seen from above. Created over 1,000 years ago, their purpose remains uncertain. Some suggest they were offerings to the gods, others see them as astronomical calendars. Imagine walking along a dry plain, unaware that your footsteps trace part of a giant drawing, invisible to you but clear from the sky. These figures remain a whispered puzzle, etched into the earth's skin. During the Renaissance, artists discovered a pigment so prized it was worth more than gold. Called ultramarine, it was made by grinding lapis lazuli, a gemstone mined in distant Afghanistan. Reserved for the most sacred paintings, it was often used to depict the robes of the Virgin Mary. Imagine the deep celestial blue glowing from a church wall, created by the crushed heart of a mountain carried across continents. The color itself became a symbol of divinity and reverence, a reminder that beauty has always been born from rarity, and that art can carry the weight of worlds. In the quiet fjords of Norway, archaeologists uncovered a Viking ship burial where not only warriors, but their animals were laid to rest together. Horses, dogs, and even birds were interred beside their human companions, ready to journey into the afterlife. Picture the earth being gently opened after 1,000 years, the outline of a ship appearing, its timbers long gone, but its shape still clear. Within, the remains tell a story of loyalty and love, revealing that even in an age of conquest, bonds between people and animals were honored as eternal and sacred. In the streets of ancient Pompeii, before disaster struck, there were signs that life carried its own quiet joys. Graffiti has been found scrawled on walls, not of politics or war, but of jokes, love notes, and even complaints about bad wine. One wall reads, "We two dear men, friends forever, we're here. If you want to know our names, they are Gaius and Aulus. Imagine walking those cobblestones, pausing to read words scratched in haste, never meant to endure yet still alive 2,000 years later. Through them, the voices of ordinary people softly linger. In Korea, the art of Celadon pottery reached such refinement in the 12th century that it seemed touched by moonlight. Pale green glaze shimmered like still water, delicate and translucent, often decorated with etched clouds or lotus flowers. These vessels were not merely useful, but carried a sense of quiet beauty into daily life. Imagine a tea ceremony in a wooden hall, candlelight glowing softly against jade-green cups. Centuries later, these fragile pieces still whisper of the care and artistry of their makers, who sought not only function, but harmony between nature, hands, and spirit. In the distant Pacific, the people of Easter Island carved colossal stone heads, known as moai, from volcanic rock. Some weigh over 80 tons, yet were transported across miles of rugged land. How they achieved this remains debated, perhaps with ropes, log rollers, or by carefully rocking the statues upright. Imagine a line of figures, their solemn faces watching the horizon, guardians of a lonely island surrounded by endless sea. Even now, they stand as silent sentinels, reminders of human determination and creativity, and of mysteries that remain unsolved despite the passing of centuries. Long before modern dentistry, the Etruscans of ancient Italy created dental bridges using gold wire and human teeth. These early prosthetics, found in burial sites, reveal a surprising dedication to appearance and health. Imagine the delicate work of binding teeth together, not with steel and tools, but with hammered gold and patient hands. While simple compared to today's methods, they were a remarkable attempt to restore smiles and preserve dignity. In these small golden bridges, we glimpse the timeless human desire to heal, to mend, and to hold onto the beauty of the everyday. In the frozen lands of Siberia, mammoth tusks have been uncovered bearing carvings more than 30,000 years old. Spirals, lines, and patterns etched into ivory show that even in the harshest environments, early humans found time for art. Imagine a fire flickering in a dark cave, a figure hunched over bone, carefully inscribing designs that meant something sacred or symbolic. These carvings predate many of the great civilizations, yet remind us that creativity is as old as survival itself. Wherever humans have walked, they have left not only tools, but marks of imagination upon the earth. In the heart of India, the Iron Pillar of Delhi has stood for over 1,600 years without rusting. Made of nearly pure wrought iron, it has withstood monsoon rains, scorching heat, and time itself. Scientists still study its composition, which resists corrosion far better than most modern metals. Imagine walking into the quiet courtyard of an ancient temple, reaching out to touch its cool surface, knowing that countless hands before yours have done the same. It stands as a silent marvel of craftsmanship, a reminder that the knowledge of the ancients often surpasses what we think we know. In the Andes, the Inca cultivated a crop that would change the world, the humble potato. Grown high in the mountains where little else thrived, it became a staple that sustained entire civilizations. Centuries later, Spanish explorers carried it to Europe, where it eventually fed millions and became one of the most important foods in human history. Picture terraced hillsides bathed in thin mountain air, green leaves pushing through rocky soil. What began as a simple root became a quiet gift to humanity, a reminder that some of history's greatest treasures emerge from the earth itself. In the medieval Japan, samurai carried not only swords, but also small masks shaped like fearsome demons or wise old men. These masks, called menpo, covered their faces in battle, both protecting them and striking fear into opponents. Imagine a warrior adjusting the mask's straps before dawn, the metal cool against his skin, transforming his presence into something larger than life. Yet beneath the armor and mask was simply a man, bound by duty. These masks remind us how humans have long used symbols and appearances to embody courage, to hide fear, and to project power in uncertain times. Long before refrigeration, the people of Persia developed a remarkable structure called a yakchal, meaning ice pit. Built of clay and rising like domes in the desert, these ancient coolers could store ice and food throughout the scorching summers. Using clever ventilation and underground chambers, they created natural air conditioning. Imagine standing inside one, the air cool and still, while outside the sun blazed mercilessly. Centuries before electricity, these structures reveal a deep understanding of climate and resourcefulness. They stand as silent proof that ingenuity has always been humanity's quiet ally in surviving harsh conditions. Deep in the waters of Antikythera, a shipwreck yielded one of history's most astonishing discoveries. A device of gears and wheels dating back over 2,000 years. Known as the Antikythera mechanism, it could track the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. Imagine divers surfacing with corroded bronze fragments, unaware they held a machine often called the world's first computer. Its precision challenges our assumptions about ancient knowledge, showing that long before our digital age, people crafted devices that mirrored the heavens, blending science with wonder in ways that still inspire awe today. In the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, a city built on lakes, people crossed watery canals, not only in boats, but also on floating gardens called chinampas. These fertile plots were created by weaving reeds, layering mud, and planting crops that thrived upon water. Imagine colorful flowers and green maize rising above a shimmering surface, farmers paddling between islands beneath the warm sun. The city, now buried beneath modern Mexico City, once glistened with these floating fields. They reveal how even the most challenging landscapes can be transformed into abundance with patience and imagination. Centuries ago in Ireland, monks created illuminated manuscripts whose pages seemed to glow with light. The Book of Kells, richly decorated with gold and intricate patterns, transformed sacred texts into works of art. Imagine a candle flickering in a stone monastery, a scribe hunched over vellum, dipping his quill into colorful inks made of minerals and plants. Each letter, each swirl, carried devotion in every stroke. These manuscripts remind us that even in times of hardship, people turned to beauty and creativity, leaving behind treasures that still shimmer softly in the quiet halls of libraries today. In Mongolia, nomadic herders once built portable homes called gurs, or yurts, designed to withstand fierce winds and bitter cold. Made of felt, wood, and rope, they could be dismantled and carried across vast grasslands as families moved with their herds. Imagine stepping inside, the warmth of a central fire glowing, smoke curling upward through the open roof, the sound of horses outside in the endless plain. These humble structures carried the essence of survival and community, offering comfort in harsh conditions. Their design remains so effective that they are still used in Mongolia today. On a small Greek island called Delos, archaeologists discovered a statue of a lion carved thousands of years ago, one of many that once lined a sacred avenue. These marble guardians stood watch over pilgrims who came to honor the god Apollo. Imagine walking the path in ancient times, the sun reflecting on the stone lions' stern faces, their silent presence offering protection. Though weathered by centuries, some still remain, gazing towards the horizon. They remind us that even in silence, stone can carry a voice across time, speaking of devotion, guardianship, and the permanence of faith. During the Renaissance, a curious entertainment captured the imagination of Europe: mechanical automata. Craftsmen built intricate machines shaped like birds, musicians, or even miniature people, which could move, sing, or play instruments through clever gears and springs. Imagine a noble court gathering in awe, as a small golden bird fluttered its wings and chirped in delicate song. These creations blurred the line between art and invention, offering a glimpse of life breathed into metal. Long before robots and computers, these automata embodied the timeless human desire to animate the inanimate, to see wonder in mechanical motion. In Ethiopia stands Lalibela, a town where churches were not built but carved directly into the rock. Hewn from solid stone in the 12th century, these remarkable structures descend into the earth like inverted temples. Imagine stepping down narrow passages into a sunken courtyard, where the walls themselves are the natural rock, cool beneath your touch. The air is filled with the sound of chanting, echoing gently against stone carved by hand. These churches are a testament to devotion and persistence, blending faith and craftsmanship into a sacred landscape still revered by pilgrims today. In ancient China, warriors used a type of firework not for celebration, but as a weapon. Bamboo tubes filled with gunpowder were launched into enemy lines, creating explosions that startled horses and terrified soldiers. Imagine the crackling thunder rolling across a battlefield, sparks flying in the night sky. The chaos of war mingled with the brilliance of fire. Though destructive, these fiery devices mark the beginning of a technology that would later light up festivals with joy. From fear to celebration, the story of fireworks reveals how human invention can shift from weapon to wonder. In the frozen expanse of Greenland, the Vikings built settlements where they raised livestock, fished and traded. Yet what makes their presence remarkable is how far they carried their world with them. Archaeologists have found chess pieces, combs, and carved ornaments, evidence of daily life transplanted to a harsh new land. Imagine a wooden hall glowing with lamplight, a family huddled against the cold, a child moving a chess piece across a worn board. These fragments of life remind us that even when people journeyed to the edge of the known world, they carried comfort and culture with them. On the African savannah, long before recorded history, people placed stones in careful alignments that mirrored the stars. At Nabata Playa in Egypt, a circle of stones arranged over 7,000 years ago may have tracked the summer solstice. Imagine standing there at dawn, the rising sun perfectly aligned with stones, weathered by centuries of wind. This ancient monument predates Stonehenge and reveals that the observation of the heavens is among humanity's oldest fascinations. The sky has always been our map and our mystery, guiding journeys not only of land, but of spirit and imagination. In medieval Europe, an unusual form of currency once circulated: large, heavy wheels of salt. Known as white gold, salt preserved food and sustained life, making it as valuable as coins. Entire towns prospered from its trade, and even the word salary comes from the Latin salarium, once meaning a payment in salt. Imagine a bustling market where merchants carefully weigh crystals of this precious mineral, voices rising in barter beneath wooden stalls. What we sprinkle so casually on our tables today once shaped economies, journeys, and even wars, reminding us how value shifts with time and need. In the jungles of Cambodia, the Khmer Empire built Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument in the world. Its stone towers rise like lotus buds, carved with thousands of intricate figures. Imagine dawn breaking over the temple, golden light spilling across stone as monks in saffron robes walk silently through the courtyards. Built in the 12th century, it was both a Hindu temple and later a Buddhist sanctuary, its stones echoing with centuries of prayer. Even now, as nature reclaims parts of it, Angkor Wat stands as a serene monument to devotion and enduring human artistry. When Galileo first turned his telescope to the heavens in 1610, he saw something no one had ever truly witnessed: moons orbiting Jupiter. These small lights, moving night by night, challenged the belief that all celestial bodies revolved around the Earth. Imagine the silence of that night. Galileo's breath catching as he sketched what he saw, the universe suddenly larger than anyone imagined. Though it brought him controversy, it also expanded our place in the cosmos. His discovery still whispers a reminder that even the smallest observation can change the way humanity sees itself. In the deserts of Arabia, Bedouin travelers relied on stars not only for direction, but for timekeeping. Certain constellations, rising or setting, marked the seasons, guiding when to plant, harvest, or journey. Imagine lying on soft sand, the night air cool, the sky alive with glittering points of light. Each star carried a story, a guide, and a memory passed down through generations. Before compasses and maps, the sky itself was the greatest navigation tool, offering comfort to those who wandered vast landscapes. It is a gentle reminder that guidance often lies above us, constant and eternal. During the age of exploration, sailors feared scurvy, a disease born of long months without fresh fruit. The cure, though simple, was revolutionary: citrus, lemons and limes, packed into barrels, saved countless lives on voyages across oceans. Imagine a weary sailor biting into a tart slice of lemon, the sharp taste cutting through weeks of salted meat and stale biscuits. The relief was not only in flavor but in healing. These small fruits became silent heroes of exploration, ensuring that ships could sail further, bringing the world's continents into closer embrace. In Florence, the great artist Leonardo da Vinci filled his notebooks with designs that seemed centuries ahead of their time. Among his sketches were machines resembling helicopters, tanks, and even scuba gear. Imagine him hunched over parchment, candlelight flickering, ink stains on his hands, his mind racing faster than his tools could keep up. Though most of these inventions never left the page, they reveal the boundless reach of human imagination. Leonardo's quiet drawings remind us that even unbuilt dreams can influence the future, planting seeds of possibility in generations yet to come. Deep in the American Southwest, ancient Pueblo, peoples built cliff dwellings high into canyon walls. These homes, carved into rock faces, were accessed by ladders that could be pulled up for safety. Imagine climbing wooden rungs as the evening sun painted the cliffs in warm gold, retreating into a cool stone chamber. Generations lived, cooked, and slept within these carved sanctuaries, their voices echoing softly against stone. Today, the ruins still cling to canyon walls, silent witnesses to resilience and adaptation. They remind us that even in harsh landscapes, people found ways to thrive together in harmony. In 18th century France, a simple board game became a tool of education and delight. Known as the Game of the Goose, it was played on winding paths filled with obstacles and rewards. And families would gather around candlelit tables, dice clattering softly, laughter echoing in wooden rooms. Imagine the comfort of companionship in a time without screens or machines, the simple joy of chance guiding pieces across parchment. Though humble, games like these reveal that people of every era sought not only survival, but moments of play, pauses in time where joy and imagination could take flight. On the high seas, sailors often carved intricate designs into whale teeth and bones, a craft known as scrimshaw. During long, lonely months of whaling voyages, knives etched ships, waves, and loved ones onto ivory surfaces. Imagine a sailor sitting by lamplight, the ship creaking as waves rolled, his hands carefully tracing memories into smooth bone. These carvings, born of boredom and longing, turned into works of quiet beauty. Today, they remind us that even in harsh and uncertain lives, creativity blossomed, giving seafarers a way to carry home with them wherever the ocean might lead. In the deserts of Saudi Arabia, the Nabateans carved a city into rose-red cliffs. Known as Madain Saleh, it mirrors the grandeur of Petra, with monumental facades hiding tombs and chambers. Imagine walking through narrow gorges, the rock glowing at sunset, silence pressing around you. Long ago, travelers rested here along ancient trade routes, their voices echoing between carved walls. The city's stillness today speaks of lives once bustling with trade, ritual, and community. Carved into stone, their memory endures, showing that even in the most unlikely places, humans leave behind marks of astonishing artistry and devotion. In the rolling fields of England, farmers sometimes unearth strange glassy objects, ancient Roman dodecahedrons, 12-sided, hollow, and with holes of varying sizes. Their true purpose remains unknown. Were they measuring tools, religious objects, or perhaps aids in weaving gloves? No one can say for certain. Imagine holding one in your hands, its bronze surface warmed by centuries beneath the soil, turning it as light gleams off its facets. These small, mysterious shapes carry with them the soft wonder of the unknown, reminders that history holds secrets not yet ready to be revealed. In the frozen north of Alaska, Inuit hunters once crafted snow goggles from carved bone or wood. Narrow slits reduce the glare of sunlight reflecting off endless white landscapes, protecting their eyes from blindness. Imagine stepping into a blinding expanse of snow, the wind howling, your vision shielded by a simple, elegant design. These goggles, fashioned with care, allowed survival in one of Earth's harshest environments. Long before modern sunglasses, people understood the balance between light and shadow, creating tools that were both practical and ingenious. They reveal how deeply survival depends upon quiet observation of nature. In the medieval city of Nuremberg, craftsmen created globes so detailed they captured the imagination of explorers and scholars alike. The oldest surviving terrestrial globe, the Adapful, dates to 1492, the same year Columbus set sail. It shows continents shaped imperfectly, hints of lands half known. Imagine a scholar turning the globe slowly by candlelight, tracing routes across oceans still filled with mystery. Though incomplete, it embodied humanity's growing curiosity about the wider world. These early globes remind us that even with limited knowledge, people reached outward with imagination, eager to map the unknown and dream of distant horizons. Among the Maori people of New Zealand, a sacred art called tamoko flourished. Unlike tattoos made with needles, tamoko involved chiseling pigment into the skin with small blades, leaving raised, intricate patterns. Each design told a story of ancestry, achievements, and identity. Imagine a face illuminated by firelight, spirals and lines marking a life's journey, etched with both beauty and pain. Tamoko was not decoration alone, but a living narrative worn proudly upon the body. It is a reminder that for many cultures, the skin itself became a canvas for memory and meaning. In 18th century England, wealthy households kept pineapples not only to eat, but to display. This exotic fruit, rare and difficult to grow, became a symbol of luxury and hospitality. Some families even rented pineapples to impress guests at dinner parties. Imagine a grand table set with silver candlesticks, conversation flowing, and at its center a golden pineapple, untouched yet admired. Its presence spoke of wealth, connection to distant lands, and a taste of the extraordinary. Though today it is an ordinary fruit, once it was a marvel, reminding us how value shifts as rarity fades with time. In India, stepwells known as bolis were carved deep into the earth, descending with ornate staircases to reach hidden waters. Some stretched down several stories, their walls adorned with carved pillars and shrines. Imagine descending cool stone steps, each one bringing you deeper into shade, until you reached water glimmering in the darkness. These wells were not only sources of life, but gathering places where communities met, prayed, and rested. Their quiet beauty lingers even now, testifying to how essential water was cherished and honored as sacred, woven into the fabric of daily and spiritual life. In ancient Greece, athletes at the Olympic Games competed not for medals, but for olive wreaths. These crowns, woven from branches of the sacred tree, symbolized honor and achievement. Imagine the crowd cheering as a runner crossed the dusty finish line, sweat shining in the sun, and a wreath placed gently upon his head. No gold, no silver, only leaves. Yet their value lay in glory rather than wealth. The olive tree, enduring and strong, was a symbol of peace and wisdom, reminding us that true rewards are often found in meaning rather than material. In the heart of Venice, glassmakers on the island of Murano guarded their secrets so closely that leaving the island was forbidden. Their techniques produced glass so clear and colorful it seemed touched by magic. Shimmering chandeliers, delicate goblets, mirrors glowing in candlelight. Imagine a workshop glowing with furnaces, sparks rising into the night, as artisans shaped molten fire with breath and skill. Murano glass became famous across Europe, treasured as art and luxury. These delicate creations reveal how beauty is often born of both secrecy and dedication, where craft becomes as precious as the material itself. In the Andes, llamas and alpacas were more than beasts of burden. They were sacred. The Inca believed these gentle animals were gifts from the gods, offering wool for warmth and strength for carrying goods. Imagine a caravan of llamas winding along a mountain path, bells tinkling softly, their wool shimmering in the sunlight. They were central to daily life, yet also woven into rituals and offerings. To this day, their presence shapes the culture of the Andes, reminding us of the quiet ways animals and humans intertwine, sustaining each other across centuries of shared survival. In Renaissance Europe, books were so valuable that libraries sometimes chained them to shelves. Thick metal links secured manuscripts, ensuring they could be read but not removed. Imagine walking through a dim hall, the scent of parchment in the air, rows of books fastened by iron, their pages whispering of knowledge held tight. For those who entered, access to a single book was a privilege beyond measure. These chains, meant to guard, also remind us of the preciousness of wisdom, a time when learning was rare and protected, treasured as much as gold or jewels. In ancient Mesopotamia, people brewed beer long before they baked leavened bread. Fermented from barley, this drink was not only a source of nourishment, but also considered a gift from the gods. Workers were even paid in beer, receiving daily rations. Imagine a clay mug brimming with frothy liquid, shared among friends after a day of labor, laughter rising beneath the desert sky. Beer carried with it both sustenance and community, reminding us that humanity has always gathered around food and drink, finding comfort in shared rituals. Even today, its echoes linger in the clinking of glasses. In 19th century Russia, Fabergé eggs became symbols of exquisite artistry. Commissioned by the Tsars, these jeweled creations contained hidden surprises, golden yolks, miniature animals, or intricate clocks. Imagine opening a gleaming enamel egg to discover a tiny, delicate world within, crafted with astonishing precision. They were gifts not of utility, but of wonder, blending craftsmanship with whimsy. Today, only a few dozen remain, their value beyond measure. These eggs remind us that history is not only made of grand monuments, but also of delicate treasures designed to inspire awe and delight with the opening of a shell. In the mountains of Peru, a unique bridge tradition endures. Woven entirely from grass, the Quishuachaca Bridge is rebuilt each year by local communities, using techniques passed down since Inca times. Imagine villagers gathered on cliffs, braiding thick ropes, singing as they work, and lowering the span across a roaring river. Each fiber carries the strength of many hands, binding the past with the present. When the bridge is complete, it sways gently in the wind, a living reminder of resilience and cooperation. It is not just a crossing, but a link between generations, woven fresh each year. Along the Silk Road, merchants carried not only goods, but also ideas. Paper, gunpowder, and even the game of chess spread across continents through these routes. Imagine a caravan moving slowly across desert sands, camels laden with silk and spices, their bells tinkling under a wide starry sky. At campfires, languages mingled, stories were told, and inventions exchanged hands. The Silk Road was more than trade. It was the heartbeat of connection, weaving distant lands into a shared tapestry. It whispers that human progress has always traveled hand in hand with curiosity and exchange. In 19th century Japan, tiny netsuke carvings served both function and beauty. These miniature sculptures, often no bigger than a walnut, acted as toggles for attaching pouches to kimonos. Yet each one was carved with incredible detail, animals, gods, or whimsical scenes brought to life in ivory and wood. Imagine holding one in your palm, its surface smooth from years of touch, its character speaking silently across centuries. Netsuke remind us that even the smallest objects can carry immense artistry, blending daily utility with the quiet joy of craftsmanship, leaving behind treasures that delight long after their use has passed. In the quiet waters of Lake Titicaca, the Uros people built islands from reeds. Layer upon layer, they wove floating homes that drifted gently upon the lake's surface, sustaining communities for generations. Imagine walking on soft, springy ground, the sound of water lapping just beneath, children playing as boats carved from the same reeds glide past. These islands, ever renewed as old reeds rot and new ones are added, show a way of life that bends to the rhythm of nature. They are a testament to adaptability, reminding us that homes can be as fluid as the waters beneath them. When Paris lit its streets with gas lamps in the 19th century, it became known as the City of Light. For the first time, people could stroll boulevards long after sunset, their paths illuminated by warm, flickering glow. Imagine couples walking arm in arm beneath the lamps, laughter rising from cafes, music drifting through the air. The city, once dark and shadowed, now shimmered with life deep into the night. These lights were not just practical but transformed the soul of Paris, showing how even something as simple as illumination can change the way people live, gather, and dream. In ancient Egypt, cats were so revered that harming one, even by accident, was punishable by death. Families often kept them as protectors of the home, believing they brought blessings from the goddess Bastet. Imagine a child curled beside a purring cat, the household resting peacefully as the night stretched on. When cats died, some were even mummified and buried with care, honored as sacred beings. This devotion reminds us how deeply humans have always bonded with animals, seeing them not only as companions, but as bridges between the earthly and the divine, guardians of hearth and spirit alike. In the sands of Jordan, the city of Petra still astonishes with its grandeur. Carved directly into towering cliffs, its facades glow pink at sunrise and sunset. Imagine a caravan arriving after weeks of desert travel, camels kneeling as merchants marveled at temples rising from the rock itself. Once a bustling center of trade, Petra now lies silent, its tombs and temples echoing with the footsteps of visitors who wander its narrow canyons. It whispers to us that beauty can be carved from stone, and that even in the heart of the desert, human imagination blossoms like an oasis. On the windswept moors of Scotland, great standing stones rise in quiet circles, older even than Stonehenge. The ring of Brodgar, with its weathered monoliths, has watched countless dawns and storms. Imagine the chill of mist clinging to the stones, sheep grazing nearby, while the sun slowly burns through the horizon. The true purpose of these rings remains uncertain, perhaps ritual, astronomy, or simply gathering places. Whatever their meaning, they still stand as silent companions to time itself, grounding us in the ancient truth that humans have always sought to connect earth with sky and past with present. In Renaissance Italy, painters sometimes used crushed beetles to create vivid red pigments. Known as carmine, this color glowed on canvases and frescoes, lending warmth to robes and flowers alike. Imagine the care of grinding tiny insects into powder, mixing them with oils, and spreading the vibrant hue across plaster walls. Though humble in origin, the color carried with it a richness that became beloved across Europe. It reminds us that beauty often comes from unexpected sources, and that art, in its essence, transforms the simplest of materials into something luminous, enduring, and deeply human. Far in the Pacific, the Polynesians navigated vast oceans without maps or compasses, guided instead by stars, swells, and the flight of birds. They memorized intricate patterns of the night sky, reading the sea as though it were a living map. Imagine a canoe gliding beneath constellations, the navigator's eyes fixed upon the heavens, feeling the rhythm of waves against the hull. These voyages connected scattered islands across unimaginable distances, proving that skill and knowledge, passed carefully through generations, could carry people farther than anyone once believed. Their journeys remain a quiet triumph of human courage and memory. In the bustling markets of medieval Cairo, merchants used carrier pigeons to send messages across great distances. These birds, guided by instinct, returned faithfully to their lofts, carrying news and trade information. Imagine a pigeon soaring above the city's minarets, wings flashing in the sunlight, while below the marketplace hummed with life. In an age before telegraphs and wires, these humble birds connected people faster than any rider on horseback. They were feathered messengers of trust and speed, reminding us that communication has always found inventive paths, bridging distances with both ingenuity and the natural world. In 18th century Vienna, audiences gathered to hear symphonies that filled concert halls with sound never before experienced. Composers like Mozart and Haydn wove intricate harmonies that carried listeners to places beyond words. Imagine candles glowing along the walls, the first notes rising from strings, the hush of a crowd swept into reverie. These compositions, crafted with care, transcended their time, continuing to soothe and inspire centuries later. Music reminds us that history is not only written in stone and ink, but also in melodies that linger in the air, touching hearts long after their creators have gone. In the arid deserts of Australia, Aboriginal peoples created songlines, invisible maps encoded in song. Each melody traced a path across the land, describing landmarks, waterholes, and sacred sites. By singing these songs, travelers could navigate vast distances with precision, Imagine walking beneath a blazing sun, the earth cracked and red, your steps guided by rhythm and words, passed down for countless generations. Song lines were more than maps. They were threads of culture, binding people to land and ancestry. They reveal how memory and music can sustain life, weaving the physical and spiritual into one enduring harmony. In 16th century Prague, an extraordinary clock was built that still fascinates visitors today. The astronomical clock, with its golden face and moving figures, not only tells the time, but shows the positions of the sun, moon, and stars. Imagine the hush of a crowd as the hour strikes, wooden apostles parading past tiny windows while bells chime across cobblestones. This clock is not merely a machinery, but a living symbol of wonder, artistry, and precision. It whispers that time has always been more than minutes and hours. It is a canvas upon which humanity paints stories of eternity. On the island of Crete, the ancient Minoans built a palace at Knossos with winding corridors so intricate it may have inspired the legend of the labyrinth. Frescoes adorn the walls with dolphins, lilies, and dancers, reflecting a vibrant culture. Imagine walking through bright courtyards, sunlight reflecting on polished floors, the air filled with music and celebration. Though the palace fell into ruin, its memory endures in myth, tied forever to the story of the Minotaur. It reminds us that history and legend often intertwine, each lending the other life, until truth itself becomes something dreamlike and eternal. In the frozen tundra of Siberia, seeds lay buried for over 30,000 years, preserved in permafrost. Recently, scientists nurtured them back to life, coaxing flowers to bloom once more. Imagine delicate petals unfurling in a laboratory, their ancestors having last blossomed when mammoths still roamed the earth. These tiny plants carry with them an unbroken thread through time, reminding us that life, though fragile, endures. Even after millennia of silence, a seed can awaken, opening quietly toward the light. It is a gentle metaphor for resilience, whispering that nothing truly living is ever fully lost. In the opulent courts of Persia, carpets were woven with such intricacy they seemed like gardens spread across floors. Patterns of vines, flowers, and flowing water created a sense of paradise underfoot. Imagine artisans knotting each thread by hand, working for months or even years to complete a single piece. When spread across polished floors, these carpets glowed with color and symmetry, transforming rooms into sanctuaries. They were more than decoration. They were visions of beauty carried into daily life. Even now, centuries later, Persian carpets remain symbols of patience, artistry, and the pursuit of timeless elegance. In the Highlands of Scotland, bagpipes were once used not only for music but as instruments of war. Their piercing tones carried across valleys, rallying clans and unsettling foes. Imagine the haunting sound rising over misty hills, echoing through glens as warriors marched. Though today they are most often heard at ceremonies and celebrations, their origins lie in both strength and sorrow. The bagpipe reminds us how music can stir emotions so deeply it shapes not only culture, but the course of history, carrying with it echoes of joy, defiance, and remembrance across the centuries. In 19th century America, a young woman named Mary Anning walked the cliffs of Lyme Regis, uncovering fossils that changed science forever. She discovered the first complete ichthyosaur and plesiosaur skeletons, long before paleontology was widely recognized. Imagine her carefully brushing rock away from bones unseen for millions of years, the sea roaring behind her. Though often overlooked in her time, her work illuminated Earth's ancient past. Today, she is celebrated as a pioneer whose quiet persistence reshaped our understanding of life's history, proving that even those who work in obscurity can leave lasting footprints in knowledge. In India, rulers of the Mughal Empire built gardens designed to reflect paradise itself. Symmetry, fountains, and flowering plants created havens of peace amid bustling cities. The Taj Mahal's gardens, divided by waterways, symbolize the meeting of heaven and earth. Imagine walking along marble paths, water trickling softly, the fragrance of jasmine in the air. These spaces were not only for beauty, but for meditation and reflection. They show us how humans have long sought to create harmony with nature, crafting sanctuaries where the spirit could rest, and where the fleeting world seemed to pause in balance. In the ancient world, libraries were often more than collections of scrolls. They were places of healing. In Greece, the Library of Alexandria carried the inscription, "The place of the cure of the soul." Imagine entering cool stone chambers, the scent of papyrus surrounding you, each scroll a vessel of wisdom. People believed that reading could soothe the spirit and bring clarity. Though much of that great library has been lost, its memory reminds us that knowledge has always been medicine, and that words, carefully gathered, have the power to mend what is unseen within us. And now, as our journey through 100 incredible moments in history comes to rest, let us pause in the gentle stillness of the present. We have drifted across oceans and deserts, climbed mountains and descended into temples, uncovering secrets both great and small. History is not merely a chain of dates and events, but a tapestry woven of wonder, invention, and humanity's endless curiosity. As you close your eyes, let the echoes of these stories settle softly in your thoughts, carrying you into dreams. For the past is never far away. It lingers quietly as you drift into sleep.